Thank you for joining me. My name is Sharon Nadeau, and it's an honor and a blessing to be able to speak to you. I don't know what your loss is, I don't know what your hurt is, but I know you're here to get a glimpse of hope that the pain will leave you and you will have peace and joy in your life again. I know that's how I felt when I lost my daughter almost 26 years ago in a car accident. My life was totally shattered. I was broken. I had no idea what I wanted. I didn't even have an idea what I didn't want at that point. At that point, I just wanted to escape the reality of what had been dealt to me. My daughter was a lovely being, and in loss, it's always common to make them, the one you lost and loved, into a saint. Well, I'll tell you, even her, as much as I loved her and as much as I was crushed and still am at her loss, I could never make her a saint because she wouldn't allow it, because she had a fiery spirit. And two women growing up in the same house, I wasn't far from grown, and she was a teenager, and we cycled together, so there was a lot of emotion and a lot of trauma and a lot of chaos in moments. And this is the truth. And in other moments, there was nothing but love and acceptance and absolute support. When you're in a place of brokenness, all the ugly parts of yourself show up. They show up because you haven't got the strength or the energy to bury them anymore. And that's where the door opens for you to have an opportunity to really access and assess yourself, to see where your growth needs to happen. What do you need to do to take the next best step? Because you are hurting, that there is no doubt. And that you will hurt for a long time, that too is no doubt. But you will transcend. And as you use this opportunity as a gateway to your new life, you will be really paying the utmost tribute to yourself, to the God who created you, and to the persons, or whatever it was you've lost. Allow it to be the catalyst to move you forward. That's when you have taken advantage of the blow that's been dealt you, because it is a crushing blow. You have to take a stand, and I use the mantra, discipline is the horse you ride, and universe respects action. So, you know, it's tempting to lay in bed, cry, feel sorry for yourself, and those are all honest feelings and emotions. And those are good. Don't deny that they exist, but make it a point that you're going to change them. Whenever I do grief coaching, and I've been doing this for 20 plus years, I started as a wounded warrior, and as I healed, I was more effective in helping others. So let this be an opportunity for you to dig deep, learn about yourself, know that you're going to grieve according to your personality type. And I was a strong-willed, determined personality. I am to this day, but I've modified my behavior somewhat. Well, quite a bit, somewhat. I'm no longer unraveled. I no longer try to hide what I have to learn, and also know that the universe will put the teacher in place when you're ready to accept change. Then the teacher will appear. I always said, because I loved my daughter so much, I hurt so deeply, I wanted to be sure that I paid tribute to the life that she had and the death that she had. I wanted to be sure that her life and death impacted me in a positive way, so I could somehow contribute to this world what she would have. Unlike me at the time of her loss, she was kind, considerate, exuberant, speak her piece, shoot from the hip, but she was always careful not to really injure with her words. She was very careful. And she was, it was such a shock to lose her in a car accident because of my 3 children, I have 2 boys. Of my 3 children, she was the one that was afraid of everything. She was afraid to be hurt. She was afraid to hurt someone. She was afraid not to appear to be what she was, just an absolute honorable being. And with her loss, it really pushed me to become more like her. And in the doing of that, I have created the person that I am today. And I know that she would stand proudly, and she always did, even when I would self-critique, she would say to me, oh mom, come on. So now I'm in the place where I can say it's okay. I know who I am. I know who I've become because of her life and because of her loss. I have chose to become better and not bitter. I've chose to create a legacy because that she lived and she died. And I'll tell you, it's a process. It's a lifetime process. But the process can't begin unless you choose it to begin. Again, getting back to the personalities, at the time of my daughter's death, her name was Tiffany. At the time of her death, I had a very successful business. I was very strong-minded, very, very self-willed, very self-confident, very self-important. And all of this, of course, was a veneer for what was really beyond the mask. But I didn't know that. But when you're crushed, you have the opportunity to learn what lies within. And that becomes the goal of us. My personality again was, let's get it done. I want out of this. I want my life back. I want to be done. I don't want to hurt anymore. I want my life back. So I was a person that was get her done. 1, 2, 3, 10. I want it over. But of course, I had to learn that even now, it's not over. It's a part of the process because, you know, my son used to say when we would go to ball games, it's never over till the fat lady sings. Well, until I leave this life, there's an opportunity for me to grow and expand. And that's exactly what my focus is. Because as I do, I can teach and I can help. And that gives me an important place and a feeling of being enough, because what I've got, I share. And again, it's a choice. And your choice becomes, am I going to become bitter or am I going to become better? Am I going to grow through this? And if I'm going to grow through this, how am I going to grow through this? You have to know growth is uncomfortable because it takes you totally out of your zone that you're used to. I can tell you this, so I don't like to go outside the boundaries. Although people who know me wouldn't say that. Yes, I do color outside the lines. But now I do it not out of fear and not out of rebellion, but just out of the zest for life. And always, never with the intent to insult, injure, tear someone else down. You know, now we're doing this COVID thing, which is a real trauma for people, and I totally understand it. And the buzzword is just be kind. And my daughter was kind. And I was kind, but not always. Not to the degree that she was. But I am now. So I offer you this. I offer coaching, and I'm offering you this session that we're doing to encourage you, to tell you that, yes, you're hurting. And you're going to hurt for a long time. But despite the hurt, you have an opportunity to do something wonderful here. You have an opportunity to grow yourself into the person that God created you to be, the very best of who you are. Your desire has to be, and I know it is, or you wouldn't be watching this video. You want to be free from the pain. You want to be free from all the things that bind you and trap you in your life. When you're suffering grief and deep in the depth of despair that you're in with loss, it's an opportunity. Learn about yourself. Find out. This is what I had to do. Go back to your childhood, anything before your 10th birthday, and find out, what was it that you liked? What was it that gave you a joy? What was it that gave you a zest for life? And those are the things that you implement. I know there was things that I detested, like gardening. Oh, to go in the garden, plant seeds, blah, blah, blah. Loved to see them come up, hated the work, hated the drudgery because it was a hot day. I could be at a ball game and here I had to be in the garden. There is so many things that in life that you do because you feel that you're duty bound to do them. So thus begins the change. Not in rebellion, but in an absolute effort to honor yourself. Because as you honor yourself, you honor others. As you bless yourself with the peace that gives you the feeling of, I'm enough, I'm okay, I'm fulfilled, I do the best I can every day, then you move forward in increments. I always say this, when you in anything in life, in growth, even, let's say you're starting a business. You start at zero and, you progress in increments. You're driving a car, you've got this beautiful vehicle, you've got a convertible and you're out in a sunny day. And oh my goodness, you just get into that vehicle. You feel young and alive and you put it in gear and you step on the gas. But you don't go from 0 to 100 no, it takes time. It's in increments that you get to the speed, the place you want to be. That's where it takes time. So take the time to learn about yourself. Take the time. I recommend it to every one of the people I coach. The very first thing you have to do is get yourself a pen and get yourself a scribbler, some kind of something to write. Yes, you can do it on the computer, and yes, you can, but you know what? There's nothing like the strength of a pen on paper that directly connects you to your heart. And that's where you have to be. You have to be to know the truth of yourself. What you're grieving, what you have to grow, has to come from the heart. So if you write, just let yourself go, and you're going to find that it just flows out of you, or it might not, but the tears will come, and in the tears is the release. It's the release of all the bent up pain that you've been holding back so that you weren't a burden to anybody else. Listen, start small, but start. I started with a gratitude journal. Now you have to know me. I'm an epidemic. Yes, I am an epidemic. I am there goes the word. Anyway, what I am is an intellectual being, and I'm analytical. That's the word. So in my process of grieving and process of life, I've always been a writer. I've always been a person who could put things down. That's God's gift to me is I'm a communicator, whether it's oral or written. It's okay. That's my gift. So for me, I've had clients tell me, customers, kosher people, tell me I'm not a writer. I'm not a journaler. It doesn't matter. Start. You're changing. You're growing. Let's move outside of our comfort zone. So this is how I started. I started at night. I usually read I go to bed and I usually read to wind down from the day. And I would put in a journal 5 things that I was grateful for that day. And those 5 things, sometimes they mushroomed into 10, 20 things. And I would just like, wow, with the gratitude, you change your mindset. And I have to tell you, when I coach people, which I love to do, I love to bring enlightenments. When I coach them, I do not focus on the negative side of loss because we know it already. What you focus on grows. So, I mean, if you're going to focus on what's not working, guess what? It's always not going to work. So you have to focus on, what can I do? What can I be grateful for today? And it is in grief, a step at a time, a day at a time, and 2 steps ahead and 1 back. It's when those days come, and they will come often until you really have found peace. It's like a train running you over. I remember working and saying to one of my customers, I feel like I'm in the middle of the ocean in a ship, and there's 14-foot waves coming at me, and my ship is being battered. I have nowhere to turn. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. And that's how it is. So we know that. So then what's the next best step? Call the Coast Guard. Let's get ready. Let's get rescued. All right. So that's what we're going to focus on. Is I'm going to give you points on what it is, and I do it regularly. What is it that you can do to uplift yourself? Yes, because that's what this is about. Anytime you grow, you take away the veil that's been covering your eyes, because you only see what you know. You only see with your limited perception. So you have to expand that perception into things that you don't know. And that's what you call, the clergy recall, removing the veil. And it is removing the veil. You have to realize that there's a life adjacent to yours that's being lived that you can't see, in a universe that you can't see. You can feel it. You certainly can feel it. You can see the results of it when you're connected to it. And that's what makes you grow. For me, and I always go back to myself because I know what worked for me, and what has worked for many of my clients is start with what interests you. And I'm an Aquarius, and an Aquarius being is a creation that is really interested in how the universe works. So I needed to have answers. I wanted to know how the universe worked. I wanted to know where my daughter was. I wanted to know how she was. And I wanted to know everything connected with the death passage, because I had to make sense of it in order to get on with it, because that's just my personality. So I began with the study of angels. And angels are so precious. And they are the best gift. You never are alone. Never are alone when you know angels. Now, I began the study of angels, and as I was studying the universe, I was studying angels, and I have to tell you how the universe comes to you, how the universe God puts in your face the teacher you need at the moment. And books, if I would be in a library or a bookstore or whatever, I'm a bookie, books change lives, there would be a book pulled out. Oh, that book was for me. There was at least a tad of information in there that I had to learn. Then another time, or many times before, after, one time, and especially I was at a garage sale. I'm a great garage sailor. I go south in the winter, and garage sales are what old people do. It's cheap entertainment. And there's a book on the cement sidewalk. Well, I picked that book up, and I just about cried, because I owned that book already. But to me, I was on the right track. I have had so many encounters of the universal variety that have really encouraged me to keep going. I have educated for years in the institutional setting. I'm a certified grief counselor, and I study daily, because as I study, I become full. I become full and aware and enlightened of so much every day that I didn't know. So having this opportunity to help you is a blessing. It's a blessing for me, and if it's coming from me as a blessing, then you receive it as a blessing. And I began, like I said, the study of angels, the study of how the universe works. I began the study of different things in space. It depends what interests you. Like crafts. I'll tell you one thing that was suggested to me, and I did it. I wish I had it right here in my hand. I would show it to you. Is a vision board. A vision board gave me great joy. I would go to bed with glue and scissors and magazines, a stack. My daughter was a 17-year-old teenager when she died, so behind she left a stack, probably a 2-foot stack of magazines. So I got myself a manila. I think I started with a 11 by 13 sheet of hard stock, and I would cut out things that I liked. I love beauty. Anything beautiful, whether it's a hairstyle, whether it's a color, whether it's flower. I love flowers. Whether it's an ornament, whether it's things about nature, universal beauty, water. Oh, the ocean is so soothing, and birds, and just tune in to what I had been missing in the speed of my life. I had been on a treadmill, literally on a treadmill to stay fit, but also on the treadmill of life, just spinning my wheels going nowhere. So with this vision board, it gave me so much focus and so much joy in clipping out sayings. Words change lives. Putting that on and gluing that onto a manila and just doing it as a collage. It was great. Pretty little children, beautiful little animals, things that really move the heart. Like when you're grieving, your grief work is heart related. Because when you're grieving, you can physically feel the pain of your loss in your heart. Because you're broken. Your heart is broken. I speak of myself like I live in north central Alberta in Canada. We have the ugliest winters here. And that's why I don't winter here. And I would say, I would see a tree and it would be like, that's how I felt in the frozen north. Totally white, totally stark, totally naked, raw, vulnerable, and being attacked by harsh winds. So you go to your heart and say, now what would warm my heart? You know what would warm my heart? Is a nice chair on the beach with the sun beating down on my face, looking forward to a massage, maybe a spa, maybe a drink around the pool, maybe like real intimate conversation with someone I knew, cared about, and that they knew and cared about me. Someone I was safe with. Because in grief, when you hold yourself in, you're holding yourself in to hold yourself together. Not to keep anybody out, but you don't want to burden anybody. And for me, I seen myself as an image of a strong person. And I'm a very strong woman. I'm a strong woman, but I wasn't strong then inside like I am now. So you need that to build that reserve of strength within yourself where you can rely on yourself and say, I can do this one step at a time because I am not alone. The God who created me never leaves me. His promise is true. He doesn't lie. He's provided angels to surround me. commands them concerning me to protect me in all my ways. Those scriptures which I found later, like not until I was, I'm sure 10 years after my daughter's loss, when I found the base of the Bible. And if you're a believer, you know that the angels surround you. You know that Jesus never leaves you. You know if you've been saved, you have the gift of the Holy Spirit. And those gifts lift you up. You do your work. Every quadrant of your body must be healed. Body, mind, your body, your mind, your emotions, and your spiritual segments of your life. All of that has to be healed to heal the whole of you. I have a website. It's www.enlightenedgrieving.blog or /blog. I'm on Facebook, Enlightened Grieving. I have a YouTube channel, The Good Grief Lady. And listen, go to my website and you're going to find I've just launched a brand new master course on grief, and that's what it's called, the Master Course on Grief. And I've broken it down into the 4 quadrants that we're talking about: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And I've added one on angels. And I'm in the starting process of doing one on relationships, because every relationship you've ever had in your life has affected you to this day. So you have to do the digging to find out how it was good, how it wasn't good. Find out for yourself what it is that makes you uplifted. In the beginning, I felt like Moses wandering in the desert, trying to lead these people out of captivity. Oh, that's how I felt. Lost, unprepared to be an asset to this world, totally unprepared. But now I feel like David. I have great courage. I have selected my rock and I've polished it off and I've put it in my slingshot, and I see the dragon. That dragon is doubt, fear, conflict, jealousy, any kind of strife. That's the dragon. But I have the rock, and I refuse to be controlled by anything negative in this life, because what comes out of you comes back to you. I want the blessings. If we want the blessings, you've got to be a blessing. So with that said, my offer for you, you stayed with me almost the whole 30 minutes. I'm winding up now. I have to say, go to my website and you're going to be able to get the whole package of my master course. I recommend you buy the whole package. And if you do, you get 5 question and answer sessions with me for 30 minutes. We'll do it in a Zoom app, and you write down your questions so that when we go live, or we're going to go live, I mean, we're talking just like we're talking now, only I'll be able to see you, you'll be able to see me. Ask your question, and I will do whatever I can to answer it. And if I don't have the answer, I'll be surprised. No, but if I don't have the answer, I'll find the answer. Know that I offer this from the depth of my heart. I have a very spiritual base. I am a solid spiritual being, and I am not denominational. I always say God has a big umbrella, and that umbrella covers us all. Because anytime you break into denominations, you're causing separation. We don't want separation. We want love. We want acceptance. We want compassion and understanding. We want it all. And why not? We're created. My mother used to say, you want it all. Yes, I do. And we're created to have it all. So let's have it all. God bless you. I know this is the toughest journey of your life, but life is about crossroads, and you're at a crossroad. Where are you going to go?